this is the stuff that excites me. And I look around and I've got a pile of parts on a counter. And it probably illustrates to a tiny degree what Twisted has been all about. 25 years of improving and perfecting and not ever being satisfied. Take a steering wheel. It's just a steering wheel. It's round and it's black. It's got a bit of leather on it. There's a logo there. But why is that steering wheel the way it is? There was a beautiful product available. The centre wasn't right. Aesthetically, it looked wrong. We talked to the manufacturer. They made some changes for us. It then looks right. But when it comes to actual use of the thing, there's a myriad of wheels available. Just as an example, steering wheels. And you buy them and they have a generic mounting on the back that causes you to actually need to take your hand off the wheel to get to your indicators or your wipers. They cover the dials, they just don't quite work. So we develop a boss that's super shallow that the wheel will bolt to. But while doing that, we ensure that the boss is engineered so it will fit all variants of Defender model. That's not just something that happens, but it's just a steering wheel. You could order one out of a catalogue and fit it on and, your Defender will have a cool steering wheel, but it's just not twisted enough. Window blocks, another example, they corrode, they look awful in no time at all. Every used Defender that we acquire for build needs window blocks replacing. So we machine a beautiful billet block, and it wears the logo proudly, but the logo is in fact on the inside where you can only see it if you look for it. But we don't just machine the block, we machine the gaskets as well. Everything we've done has a story. The bumper. 2008 or 2009, a customer called Bernard Heaton came to me and said, "Hey Charlie, can you just put me some lights in my bumper?" And that set us on this journey with bumpers where we mounted some LED lights in a certain position that just aesthetically looked right with the line of the indicators, the side lights and so on. And this bumper literally then was fitted to every vehicle we ever built, unless it had a winch. And over the years, that bumper's gone from being a standard bumper with plates attached to it, to a machine bumper, to this beautiful 5mm aluminium bumper with phenomenal laser driving lights. And every bit of that has come off the back of a single request from a customer. Least likely to corrode bumper you can buy, and it's just beautiful, but it doesn't shout, it's just a bumper. Springs. I remember Roddy Harvey-Bailey, absolute legend in the suspension industry as an engineer back in the day. I approached him and said, "Hey, Roddy, I want to create a suspension system for Defender I want it comfortable, I want it compliant, I want it to talk to me, I want it to tell me what it's doing. I want to get rid of the understeer that every Defender suffers from. I want to get rid of the snap oversteer. I want it to be communicative and comfortable and do all the things that Defender should do that it doesn't. Predictable is super important." So the journey began with a conversation with the guys at IBAC and the guys at Bilstein, about a year on and off with Roddy. Phenomenal engineer. I remember passengering very quickly through the back roads of Leicestershire, and Roddy going through this corner faster than I would have ever imagined in a normal Defender. He almost had his eyes closed as he's feeling for what's going on around the vehicle and then trying to transfer that into data that IBAC and Bilstein could do something with. And we finished up with what we call the progressive suspension system, People have coined the phrase since. They're all just using an off-the-shelf product and putting the name progressive to it, where in fact this is truly a progressive system. We could have gone with air, we could have gone with any number of other options, but it's important at all stages. While, you know, we are a modifier ultimately, but we've got to maintain what is special about the core product and retain its simplicity, but make it the best it can be. So that spring has had 50 pounds removed from the first 25 mil of movement. And if you think of the normal tarmac road, the first 25 mil is where all the little noisy bits are. You've got something that's relatively compliant across those gentle undulations, but then as the weight's transferred through the rest of the coil, it progressively becomes firmer. So you end up with something that's far more comfortable. You then need the right gas damper, and ultimately there's no point in that being progressive if the damper is equal rate top to bottom. So the Bilstein damper, we've had them revalved to match the spring rates. We then looked at anti-roll bars. You know, this is our anti-roll bar. Obviously it carries our logo proudly. The standard anti-roll bar on the front of Defender is really, really thick. It's thicker than your thumb. It's a heavy anti-roll bar, and that's sat at the front of the car. The rear anti-roll bar is really quite fine. It's quite a light one. Now, the one thing that the Defender is renowned for is phenomenal suspension travel. Back in the day when a leaf-sprung off-road vehicle from Japan was cocking a wheel in the air and losing traction, the Defender was, or the 90 or 110 of the time, was relatively level in the body, but the wheels were hanging in all directions. So it's important we retain that wonderful amount of travel to be able to maintain traction off-road. But ultimately, the front anti-roll bar, which, like many things on the Land Rover product, was an afterthought, that front anti-roll bar being really heavy, really stiff, it's positioned incorrectly to prevent body roll, and as an anti-roll bar, it's there to prevent body roll. All it does, in fact, is cause the Defender to take weight off the inside front wheel. So if you turn hard enough in a Defender, it'll cock a front wheel in the air. The opposite to a hot hatch or a sports car, they always cock an inside rear. The issue with cocking a wheel is you're actually taking away up to 50% of your traction on the nose. So we lighten the front anti-roll bar, giving more travel on the front axle, and we firm up the rear one. So the rear one does its job of stopping body roll, but the front one, while still being efficient, it's still allowing, even at its full stretch, it's still allowing lots of travel on the front. That therefore means you got more grip on the nose, which means they don't understeer. The rear anti-roll bar controlling the body movement prevents the snap oversteer. So you get this wonderful experience where you turn in and you find you've actually even got more grip. You can turn further before it breaks away, and when it does break away, it tells you it's going to. So you've got this wonderful progressive transfer of traction around the vehicle, which comes from these things, the bit between you and the road, talking to you. It's not just springs and dampers, it's not just off-the-shelf products, it's years and years of continued development. This thing here, it's just a bit of mesh. At the bottom of the air con panel on every late model Defender corrodes like mad. Everyone just leaves it be because it's underneath, you can't really see it. We change it, we put this plastic coated stainless steel on, and it just solves the problem never comes back. Soundproofing material, 3mm resin mat with a foil outer. There's a myriad of suppliers. These are our chosen suppliers. It's Twisted branded, it works. But what doesn't work, and even working with the best suppliers, that panel's actually not square. So the guys cut every single panel independently by hand to ensure it's square, so that each piece meets the next with 100% coverage. And it's about 50 hours just to stick this stuff on. doesn't make sense, but the end product, you can just tell.